Hi, I'm Darren and welcome to New Factory Classics. Today we're going to break down Napoleon Dynamite. Enter Napoleon, a tall curly-haired boy that's socially awkward and wears padded boots all the time. I'm sure he'll get out of high school unscathed. He lives in the boonies of Idaho and gets super fussy whenever anyone talks to him while he's taking the bus. He loves to draw unicorns and dragons, something that will garner him a lot of popularity in high school. He tends to talk with his eyes squinted and lies all the time about his accomplishments. He's constantly getting beaten up, and living with his socially awkward brother and elderly grandmother are not helping him at all either. But our hero's loneliness ends quickly when he meets Pedro, a Mexican immigrant that's new to town and new to the US. Pedro's got a sweet bike and the only mustache in high school. Maybe the two of these teens can team up to take on the school. Napoleon and his older brother live with their grandmother. She's the coolest out of the three of them and is constantly leaving them to go party. Yes, Kip lives constantly online in different chat rooms and different dating apps. In fact, his only closest friend in the world is probably Napoleon. Now, Deb is a girl that goes to Napoleon's school. She goes door to door selling trinkets and trying to get people to use her glamour shot studio. Now, Napoleon is super mean and awkward to her because he doesn't know how to talk to girls. Frankly, he doesn't know how to talk to boys either. Kip and Napoleon make fun of the young girl so much that she leaves her wares and runs away. Anyways, they need to go to town and check out Rex Kwon Do. Diedrich Bader plays Rex. He developed Rex Kwon Do by spending 2 years in the octagon and having 2 chicks at the same time. A cow is executed in front of a bunch of children. Cut to Napoleon dancing in the Happy Hands Club. It's an American Sign Language club that's bound to send him to the top of popularity. Napoleon and Pedro are discussing the dance. Napoleon lies about having a model that lives across the country. Pedro, on the other hand, wants to ask out Summer, the hottest girl in school, so his big plan? To build her a cake. At lunch, Napoleon puts Pedro's extra tater tots into his pocket. Having a closed pocket devoted solely to tater tots is something that's standard in anyone's Idaho wear. On his way to return Deb's wares, he sees that she's drinking 1% milk. Why are you drinking 1% milk? Is it because you think you're fat? Because you're not fat, you totally could drink whole milk. Damn. Opening line negging and a pocket full of tots. This kid's got game. While off partying with her friends, Grandma breaks her coccyx and can't watch the 2 boys. Enter Uncle Rico, a homeless drifter that lives in the past. He lives in a field most of the time and makes videos of himself throwing a football at a camera. Napoleon doesn't want a babysitter, but Kip doesn't mind. He's lonely most of the day anyways. They sit down and watch Uncle Rico's video of just him running around throwing footballs at the camera. Napoleon says that this is pretty much the worst video that's ever been made. Unfortunately for Rico, he lives in the year 2004, because if he lived in the year 2024, you could have an entire YouTube channel dedicated to you throwing footballs at the camera. Rico finds out that Kip needs some money. He's trying to bring his girlfriend to town, so he brings him in on his new deal. Door-to-door Tupperware salesman. And you know what they say, shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you'll live amongst the stars. If Coach had just put him in, Uncle Rico could have led the team to state championship. But it looks like the 80s didn't work out for Uncle Rico. It looks like the cake that Pedro built for Summer wasn't enough to impress her to leave her boyfriend and go to the dance with him. Luckily for Pedro, he was playing the field, and he also asked Deb to the dance. And of course she said yes. It looks like Napoleon doesn't have a date to the dance. Yes, Napoleon, you learned a lesson that another Napoleon had learned once. You can't wait forever. This isn't the Battle of Leipzig. Now that's a deep cut right there. Well, it looks like Napoleon will have to find a new date to the dance. Well, he does like Trisha, so he decides that he'll show off his skill set and do a drawing of Trisha's face. And it's the most hideous picture you've ever seen. Yes, never draw a picture of the girl that you like and plan on giving it to her if you're a horrible artist, unless maybe she's a blind chick. That said, Uncle Rico's been selling Tupperware to her mom, who forces Trisha to go with him. Now, you may say pity date, but all I hear is Napoleon got a date. Now, Napoleon is looking fly as hell in his new suit, and it's time to pick up Trisha and go to the dance. Unfortunately, he has to go with Rico to a selling stop first. While running through the fields of Idaho, Napoleon realizes he's not going to make it to his date in time. Luckily for him, Pedro's cousins roll up and offer to give him and his new girlfriend a ride to the dance. Unfortunately for him, once they arrive, she leaves him and goes to spend time with her friends at the dance. It looks like he'll have to find somebody else to make his girlfriend. Pedro and Deb come over to Napoleon, and there's a scene of them staring off and watching all the normal kids dancing. There was something about this shot that always stood out to me. It was that some kids just didn't mesh well in high school, but it just wasn't their time yet. Napoleon and Deb danced together slowly. He begins to ask her about all her glamour shots and all the clothes that she made and all the trinkets that she made, taking a real interest in her hobbies. She then invites him over for a personal glamour shot event. They may both be awkward and not have many friends, but they can be together. Pedro, on the other hand, has big plans. He wants to be the president of the high school, which is frankly laughable, the idea of a president being born after the 1940s. Pedro and Napoleon do very well in their Future Farmers of America contest, winning a bunch of awards and ribbons. Unfortunately, that day they got back to school late and they see it plastered in "Vote for Summer for President" posters. It looks like the cool kids are going all out to make sure Summer wins the presidency. Pedro has an utter panic attack and goes home and shaves his head. I'm sure this will have no effect on his popularity. But Deb and Napoleon do their best to cheer Pedro up. She even gives him one of her fancy wigs from her glamour shots. Now it's time for them to buck up and go get some votes. They cover the school in "Vote for Pedro" posters, hand out some of Deb's trinkets, and really reach out to all the nerds and lonely kids throughout the school. They even promise protection for all the kids that have been bullied throughout the year by having Pedro's cousins roll up and threaten any of the bullies, thus proving Pedro can provide more solutions than either party this November. Finally, Kip's girlfriend comes to visit. She's from Detroit. They're pretty serious though, as they spend 2 hours a day talking online. They may come from different backgrounds, but together they were able to find love. While Napoleon is at a local thrift store, he finds a dance video by Daquan. He originally came there just looking for new ninja items, but learning to dance can always help. While sweaty from dancing all day, Napoleon runs into Kip and his girlfriend, who's been completely blinged out. She gives Napoleon a mixtape with some good dance music that her cousin made. After she leaves the room, Kip walks over to Napoleon and lets him know that LaFonda is the best thing that ever happened to him, and that he hopes that Napoleon can find love one day too. Between giving us LaFonda and Henry Ford, Detroit is on a roll. During a photo shoot, Uncle Rico sexually harasses Deb and lets her know that Napoleon thinks that she needs to use bust enhancement pills. Now, throughout the movie, it's proven that Uncle Rico doesn't mean to be pervy. He just keeps putting himself in all these random situations trying to make the sale. But still, 20 years later, this scene does not feel great. That said, with all the knickknacks and crap that she has, he probably should have just tried to sell Deb some Tupperware instead. Listen to me, boys. If there's one thing I can get across to you, never talk to a woman about her breast size. Instead, focus on her crappy Tupperware collection. Yeah, Uncle Rico's just a bumbling idiot, kind of bouncing through life, living in the past, trying to make these stupid football videos. He even ends up getting beat up by Rex for trying to sell his wife breast enhancement pills. He's not really a perv, he's just an idiot, and he needs to go back to where he came from, the fields of Idaho. That said, Deb is pissed because she thinks Napoleon was commenting on her lack of breasts. It's election day, and it's time to give your speech and your skit. Summer goes first, and everyone goes wild, and then she ends up doing her skit, where all of the girls on the cheer team dance and do ASL. Can someone in the comments section explain to me what's the deal with Idaho? I mean, I get potatoes, but are they like really into American Sign Language or something? A downtrodden Pedro realizes he doesn't even have a skit, and she's just going to win anyways. So he just gives a speech that has about 4 sentences and walks away. That is until Napoleon has a plan. He gives his music cassette tape that he got from LaFonda to the people running the sound system, and he's going to dance as Pedro's skit. And Napoleon doesn't just dance, he lays down one of the top 10 greatest dance scenes that's ever graced the silver screen. Just a boy, the stage, and history in making. The crowd goes absolutely wild. Napoleon has enthralled everyone. Kip ends up leaving for Detroit with his love. He's seen all that Idaho can give, and maybe there's some new adventures for him out in Detroit. Grandma returns home to take care of Napoleon and be with her favorite llama. Uncle Rico returns to the fields of Idaho until a random chick shows up. They want to have this outro kind of show that he somehow found love randomly, but I'd like to think that she robbed him shortly thereafter. Pedro wins the presidency, from new to the country to president of his high school in just a few weeks. It looks like the American dream is true for Pedro. Napoleon is playing tetherball alone, like he did for the entire movie. But this time is different, as Deb walks up to play with him. She saw how brave he was and what he had done for his friend, and realizes more than likely he never said any of those horrible things that Rico said. The movie ends with the two of them playing together. They used to be alone, but now they have each other. Just Deb and Napoleon Dynamite. And now I have seen it, so you don't have to. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.